Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Chasing the Whimsy. I am your host, Ben, and I have a guest with me today, Megan. Hello, Megan.
Hello.
All right.
So saying Megan is my first word of the podcast. Throw me off.
So before we get started with today's episode, I wanted to go ahead and, are you aware that we have a book that I'm working on of episode 37?
I have to be aware because it's about 12 inches from me.
And
it's uncomfortably close to me for me not to know about it.
So I had this idea. Tom, Steve, Dave, back on episode 12 and 13, back in like 2011, had their like signature episode, Making Hay. And this episode it's interesting because it was their best episode, and it's the one that most people refer back to as their best episode, and it was episode 12.
Yeah.
So episode 37, I wanted to kind of just do like a tribute to Tell 'em Steve Dave, because it was all about road to Tell 'em Steve Dave Town, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the idea was the Making Hay book is the 6-hour long like transcription of both episodes in a book form. So, So I was like, all right, so 37, Tell 'em Steve Dave. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm going to transcribe the 3 episodes from 37. And I'm using this particular piece right now as the intro to it. Because Walt Flanagan on episode 313 coined a phrase, he coined the phrase, TESD makes the world takes. So this is kind of just my homage to Tell 'em Steve Dave, that they had a project and, they made, and I'm taking. So I'm going to make a book very similar to theirs as kind of like a little love letter to Tell 'em Steve Dave.
It's really cute.
I like it. So it's going to be Jay Sarge, who does a lot of the theme music and some of the other musical projects that they have, Ming Chen and Brian Johnson. So, I try not to copy too much of what they're doing, but they have kind of set the groundwork for what, like, I look at our podcast of like.
Right, and it's a copy of concept, but we're bringing our own material to it. So it's not like we just redid their episode 12.
Right.
We did our own thing, and we have our own podcast, but.
But yeah, they're so influential in a way that like we're doing the merch that they're kind of doing now. And I kind of look back at some of the things that they are doing and that they did. So like early on, they don't have any video, and now they have the Patreon and they're doing a lot more video stuff. So that's why I'm recording right now. No one's going to see this one, but we'll have it if we need it ever. So I kind of look to them as kind of like a roadmap of like what to expect 13 years from now, and making sure that I grab all of the stuff early on, because I bet you they would love to see like early episodes of them hanging out on the poker table and just hanging out. So
and you could take from them, like I'm sure like you said, I wish they could go back and see those things. You can start out from their example and not have to go through, we did 5 years of the podcast and it's all lost to like time or whatever it is. But
so yes, so Tom, Steve, Dave, Brian Johnson, Walt Flanagan, Brian Quinn, thanks for the 13 years. I hope for 13 more. And again, just a love letter to you guys. Now with that said, what is it? TESD makes the world takes. So I'm trying to constantly come up with different bits and ideas for like the live stream and the podcast and different episodes. And it's so hard to not directly take from Tell 'em Steve Dave.
Oh yeah. Because you don't want to be like the complete parrot of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, because
But they're in you now.
They're in
you now. So like everything that you take in as far as media and everything in the world becomes part of like your roadmap to moving towards your next objective.
Right.
So your creativity and everything is fed by other things.
Right.
And that's true with like anybody who's creative or great minds and stuff like that. They're never going to pretend like they didn't get something from somewhere. Like you see Indiana Jones, it's like old adventure serials and stuff like that fed Spielberg, and then he decided to, you know what I mean? Like he's not going to say, "I created it." Everything in there is 100% original. Right.
Because their flagship game, because they came up with the game early on in like the in the early 30s, called 1 True 3, and each person would come in with a different. 3 stories, 1 real and 2 fake, and then you would have to ask questions and stuff. And some of the best moments of Tell 'em Steve Dave have been some of these 1 True 3s. And what's funny was Walt at some point got to a point where he's just like, every game he comes up with was always some version of, I've had 2 of these, I've had 1 of these things and 2 of them I have not, or it's always some variation of 1 true and 2 falses. So he's just like, I don't know, he cannibalized 1 True 3, and then it gets you thinking into other types of games. And they've done some fantastic games, but so I'm trying to stay away from the like 2 truths and a lie or 1 truth and a lie. So I'm like,
and they didn't invent 2 truths and a lie either. So it's like they put their own spin on it.
They did. And it's funny because on the back of the book, it should be out by my birthday. If I can get the last part of it edited. On the back, I have the transcription of the episode 313, where they flat out were like, they had an episode that they pitched for a TV show, and Brian Johnson's like, Billy Eichner flat out did this pitch that they did a couple episodes earlier, and then that's where they're like, TESD makes and the world takes. So this week's episode, coming up with different ideas. I'm all over the place. So I've been asking for writers' rooms, like people to help me create like a writer's room and help bounce ideas off of. So you're here today. I dragged you in. You're going to be my pop-up writer's room / like pitch, like I'm pitching stuff to you. And
I'm swatting them down left and right.
Unless they're good. So
we'll see.
We got Kelly over here too. So it's going to be the twins pop-up writer's room. Yeah.
Megan plus the peanut gallery.
Yeah. All right. So I have multiple ideas, but I'm gonna stick with 3, because then if this is a good concept, then we'll do it again in a couple of weeks after I have some more.
I'm down.
All right. So my first idea, and these are gonna be like, these pitches are gonna be, if you feel it needs to be rearranged or not a podcast episode and a live topic or vice versa, I'll take some of that feedback. But I was thinking one thing we could do, because I'm a publisher now. I don't know if you're aware.
Whoa.
Currently on Amazon, we have.
Did I not kneel down when I came in and give you a little curtsy or something like that? Publisher.
We are currently published 5 books currently available on Amazon right now. Shameless plug. Now, with this idea, and I'm publishing a new book for my birthday. Mm-hmm. So, like, we're in the publishing business. You had mentioned that you have written novels. I have a thing of short stories. Mm-hmm. What if I want to go more into the publishing company business and start publishing your stuff and my stuff, and then we invite other people to submit their stuff, and then I'll help publish that under the Whimsy Penguin Publications.
Yeah, but what if I'm trash? You don't even know. You don't even know.
But that's what Whimsy is like, it's going to be trash, but it gives you an outlet to actually get it printed and in shelves.
TESD makes, the world takes. Whimsy, it's trash. We can keep it. Leave it with Whimsy.
So, would you dust off one of your old novels and then allow us to publish it under the Whimsy banner?
Maybe if it was heavily edited, like terribly edited, like crazily edited.
Like edited to make it look like Lord of the Rings.
Of course. No, I write in a lot of different genres, but I don't see why not.
All right. Do you have a pen name?
No.
Have you ever thought about a pen name?
Yeah, I did actually, because I'm not a big fan of my name.
Right.
And then also, I don't know, like a lot of authors have like their initials or whatever, but MLM.
And then it's like, because like no, what is it?
Multi-level marketing.
Yeah, because it's like, because like my screen name or username for a lot of stuff and is like Loveless. So I try to tie in like my writings to that Loveless name. So it's Sebastian Loveless.
Yeah.
It is because I like the name Sebastian. But oddly enough, I can't spell it always the same. I always have to like IAN. Because JJ noticed somewhere that I had something written as Loveless. And he's like, who's that? He's like, who the hell's Loveless? I'm like, that's me. He's like, why is that you? He's like, I'm like, and I didn't know how to explain pen names.
You had to go into the whole lore too, right? Where you got Loveless from. And
no, okay. So put a pin in that and I'll come back to that. But what would your pen name be if you had one?
If I had one, I should keep it secret in case I have to publish under it.
Well, because what's also interesting is
I have published under because my middle name is Lee after my grandmother. I have published things under Lee.
Now, do you do that because you think people would think it was a man writing it? Because isn't that what JK did? Try to hide that she was a female
before. Yeah. But no, I think mostly I just don't like my first name, and then Lee is still technically part of my legal name. So I've published things under that before, but I don't think it's really a pen name because it's technically still my name.
I don't know anything about. I just know that some people have real names and they write under a different name. Do we know any famous writers that have different names that they write under versus what the real names are?
Because there's a whole book on this. No, so
there's a whole book on it?
Okay. Crazy thing. There used to be this guy at McDonald's. He came there every day.
Okay.
Every day. Kelly and I worked at the same McDonald's. I worked the morning shift. His big thing was this book that he was writing. And the only thing in the entire book was famous people and then what their real names are. And he wanted to talk about it constantly, but really the only thing was like lists of famous people and their names and famous people and their names. And like there was no interesting stories in it or anything. It was straight lists. And he would corner you and be like, yeah, did you know that?
I got 38 pages.
His name is actually this. And did you know that? And we're like, oh, okay. Thank you, sir. Did you need us to remove your tray?
Oh, that is funny. So I think I just got Truman Showed because how random is it that I randomly come up with pen names and ask that question and you just happen to know a guy at McDonald's that had the exact same book?
I wish I didn't know the guy. No, he was really nice and he's probably like dead now.
Because Stan Lee was never, because he had to change his name.
Right.
He was, I don't know what his real name was, but it was a little bit more Jewish. So back then you kind of hid the fact that you were Jewish. Is it Stephen King? Is he really Stephen King or does he have a different real name? I don't know. I'm trying to think. Is there anybody else? I know that there's real names and pen names. I'm trying to think of any.
J.D. Robb.
Who's J.B. Robb?
J.D. Robb writes romance mysteries.
And what's her real name?
I don't know her real name, but I think she did it for the same reason as J.K.
Okay.
Oh, when you change genres, you have to get a different pen name, or else you're gonna ruin your.
Oh, is that a thing?
Yes.
So I can have different So I need a bunch of different.
That's why. Gotcha.
Yeah.
J.D. Robb is Nora Roberts, the romance writer. So she wanted to write mysteries,
right?
But nobody's gonna read a hard-boiled detective novel mystery from Nora Roberts. So J.D. Robb.
I think
J.K. Rowling did the same thing when she wrote some mystery books. She went under a male pen name.
Oh, that's interesting. All right. But I know when I was working years ago at hotels, I always ask people when they recently got married. I always ask the guy or the wife, if she's practiced the signature, because I don't think like I'll never have to change my name, but then like when the wife gets married and she takes the different last name, like has she practiced writing a new name, because she's been writing one name forever. So like with pen names, you always want to make sure you have a cool name where you can have like a cool signature with it too, right?
That would be true if my regular signature was even kind of cool. It's terrible.
We had Liam early on, like in the before like episode 10, practicing signatures. Like, not that I ever thought we would have to, but I'm like, yeah, when we start going to cons or something, we need to sign something. So he's like, I don't know how to sign anything. I'm like, my handwriting
Gen
sucks.
Z and Gen Alpha, a lot of them do not know how to write cursive. So
some X's and a. We
had
had
kind of like scribble.
We had Liam. He did something with like the L, and then like part of his last name, and it almost looked like a sailboat. So I was like, I kept trying to like see if we can figure out how he can like easily write this giant L with a little like flag and a.
That's another thing, though. If you're like a famous author or whatever, you don't want it to be too crazy, because if you have to sign like a million of those things, your arm's gonna fall off.
Right. All right. So, publishing, good idea, bad idea?
Publishing.
Whimsy is now getting it. We're in podcasts, we're in live streams. Now we're hitting publishing.
The umbrella is just getting bigger and bigger.
We're taking over the world, man. Clothing line.
Get in on the ground floor, guys.
Yeah. Now, so yes, good or bad?
Good. But as a topic for...
Right. I could do reviews and have people come on and talk about their book. So that's a little bit that I can have and be like, hey, do you want to come on and talk about your book for 20 minutes?
Right.
Yeah.
JJ.
Yeah. Did you watch the live stream yesterday? Dude, JJ is amazing. I love this kid so much.
No, he's very like... He's like raw talent. You know what I'm talking about?
He totally schooled me too.
He's got the spirit. He's got like the imagination.
Right.
And he never gets tripped up.
No.
He just kind of keeps going. And
right.
I don't think because I tell stories to Sophie, like just made up because.
Right. And it's so funny because she walks around like telling stories. I'm like, oh yeah, she heard that one.
Yeah. She'll talk Ogre and Captain and Princess Sophia and stuff like that. But sometimes you're just like, oh, fuck. Right. And then what happened then? And then what happened? Oh,
go to bed.
Next week. Tomorrow we'll tell you more.
So, now my mom always asks, because she's like, I'm always looking forward and never like just straightforward. And I'm like, we'll worry about what the problems if they come up. What happens if you were to give me Lord of the Rings and I publish it under Whimsy? Am I ultimately responsible? Because you changed your pen name?
The next Lord of the Rings, like you're saying, if it's a successful book?
Or like what happens if like as a publisher, in theory, I need to make sure that it's not already been written, right?
Yeah, I can't just give you like, hey, here's Lord of the Rings by Megan McClure.
I don't want to do that work though. Can I make you sign a paper that says if you stole this?
Totally promise this is not a published work.
All right, so now we go into legal, and now I'm going to be a lawyer. The umbrella gets bigger.
Oh, well, now we're going to need like one of those big billboards and a jingle because, call Raffy,
right?
Or Lerner and Rowe. We call Whimsy. You gotta come up with like a jingle.
All right, we'll come up with a cool jingle. But yeah, I was thinking, I'm like, that'd be kind of cool. Like,
wait, which one of us is going to law school?
No, you don't have to. I can just watch a couple of YouTube videos.
That's true.
Yeah.
Law by Mike. We're watching Legal Eagle today, and we will tell you what will work for your case.
Yeah, I'll watch like House. He had some like legal issues every once in a while, so I'll just start throwing.
He famously went to jail. Yeah. Spoilers for House.
Yeah.
House spoilers.
But yeah, that was the only one problem I had was like, because like right now it's just you, me, and JJ. But this idea of like, hey, somebody else wants, for me to organize it, schedule and print it out and have it on Amazon is like, how do I fact check this kid that I barely know? And then
he's telling you the plot to the last Paw Patrol episode. It changes it to Yellowstone.
Or they just straight take it Paw Patrol and they just name them cats instead of dogs. And it's just
And then he
like
barked. Wait, Yellowstone barked?
Yeah.
I mean, yelled.
all right. But you think there's that it has some legs that we can maybe start publishing and have people come on and talk about their books.
I feel like you set this one up first because you're trying to soften me, and the next one's going to be absolute garbage.
Well, because we talked about the book in the beginning, so it was a nice segue.
Yeah.
All right.
I believe it.
All right. Scale of 1 to 10, where we don't like.
I'd say like an 8 because it's creative and talking about books is something I like doing. So
all right, very cool. All right, I'll take an 8. The pin from earlier, the Loveless. Nobody ever. I met one random guy. So Phoenix, like Liam and I talked about Phoenix and Virgil, the Bubbas that would play Go with us, and out of nowhere, like I've met a lot of people who watch anime and read manga. Phoenix is the only person in 20 years that I've ever met that knew the manga reference in which, I mean, it's Loveless was the name of the manga, but the only person who's actually read it.
right.
And I was like, I always thought that was like crazy interesting. So shout out to Phoenix.
But that's kind of good though, right?
Yes.
You don't want it to be like something referencing like Harry Potter,
Right.
And then everybody knows what it is.
All right. Okay. All right. My second pitch. Liam and I kind of worked on this one a little bit. Jay Sargent is going to come on probably sometime in May. So I was trying to think of like, if we have more guests on, could I do something like some softball questions and they progressively get harder, like some kind of like question gauntlet where they start off super easy and then by question 10 we get into like harder, like maybe they don't want to answer the question.
Start out with what's your favorite color?
Yeah. And then
he's like, oh no, my dad was killed by his favorite color.
Right.
Accidentally step on everybody's toes.
Yeah, and then that way everybody, I can have a list of like 20 of these questions and I would just pick out. So every episode.
Does the guest know that
Yes.
it's going to get harder and harder?
Yes, I would send them the questions.
Okay.
So that way, if they don't want to answer it,
They don't have to feel like they're put on the spot.
right? And I would preface it that way to be like, here, can you survive the gauntlet? Can you get to question 10 and answer it?
I like that. I mean, I'd have to see like the levels because, like, okay, so favorite color, and then
yeah.
like, let's say what's a level 5 question out of 10?
Something maybe it's like,
Mid-range.
have you ever stolen anything from work?
Okay, yeah, that's cool because nobody cares, and
Right, and
like the FBI is not going to come down on him,
right? Or you always pull the one from like 20 years ago from your first job when you worked in fast food, and you're like, yeah, I stole burgers all the time.
Ronald McDonald's coming for me now,
Right? Because Nikki, well, you know, I think she had mentioned it. Like when I was at Carl's Jr., I was stealing like fucking cheesecake like a crazy person. Like every night it was just like bags full of cheesecake, and she's just
How much cheesecake could you eat, dude?
I don't a lot. So yeah, that something like there would be a level 5, and then progressively get harder. And I try to keep it like fun and playful,
Rather than like
not like super like
deep and moving. Like
some maybe in the early like what was your favorite like mom memory or something.
yeah, but like happy moving,
Yeah.
not like what do you regret most in life?
Right.
That's a little bit deeper.
That could be like a 9-10. And then that if you want to get through the gauntlet, and that can give prizes and be like, hey, J Sarge, if you get through the gauntlet, I'll send you a wooden token or something, or I'll send you some stuff, and just start having people come on and see if they can get through the gauntlet.
It'd be interesting because I feel like everybody would go in going, I'm an open book.
Right, but by episode 10,
But then 10, like,
Jesus, real or fake?
but then yeah, who's been on for 10 episodes so far though that would end up, because we only have like Jay Sarge coming back. And there was 4 months between his episodes, so it'd be like 10 years from now. false sense of security.
Like once a month, we just have like a podcast episode where I just get different guests and be like, Nikki, call in, JJ. And I think JJ would be fun too, because like a level 10 for his would be like, you did smoke. Do you tell your mom? He's like, well, I wouldn't have. No. The question is, you did. And then he's like, I'm not going to tell my mom that I smoked. Boom. You don't, you sorry.
What are your top regrets?
Yeah.
At like 10.
We get the gnomes and we put like put them instead of a pocket, put them in a gauntlet. And be like, boom, you passed the gauntlet. And we give out like fucking stickers and shit.
Oh, we put like a little shelf where maybe people pass.
Oh, right. Like at
the burgers. When you eat
the big steak
burger or steak or whatever it is, and be like, oh, we could put like, okay, so it could be like 10 shelves, and like their little tokens could go up the shelves, and then we could visually see who's making it.
All right, but and then we kind of. And then like J Sarge, I want to know a little bit more about him so I can kind of gear some of the like those early like 4 to 6 questions to be like more about him, and that way we're kind of learning more about who he is, other than what his favorite color is. Like if you were like level 2 would be like, if you could be anything in your fridge, what would you be?
Right. Or like what gives you the ick about somebody else? Right? Like, it's because that alienates people, because if they have whatever gives you the ick, they're gonna be like, oh, J Sarge doesn't like me.
It would be weird to be like, I think the level 9, 10s are gonna be like the funner questions, but then I think it gets hard to be like coming up with them that still keep it appropriate and within the theme of the fun. Be like, you have to tell one person right now to go fuck themselves. Who is it, J Sarge? And he's like,
we will call them.
We will, because I live streamed yesterday. And we got Nikki, Edwin, and JJ on, and rumor has it sounded good. So, I'll start calling people right now and be like, would you, so like 10, would you call mom or dad right now and tell them you're pregnant, or like whatever TikTok things that are going on right now?
Right.
That'd be a cool 10.
I think my mom would have a heart attack.
Oh man, she
Not Megan. Not Megan.
Are you just trying to stop me up for Kelly?
just tell me if she's pregnant again.
All right. So we like the gauntlet.
I like the gauntlet.
All right.
It takes some like figuring out though.
Right, because I don't want the same 10, but I want like the same like definitely the progression a little bit. And it's gonna get weird when like the 8s, 9s, and 10s is like I'll have to repeat them obviously a couple of times, but like I need like 30 8, 9s, and 10s.
Yeah.
And just I can kind of just rotate them through. So not every single person listening every month to the gauntlet, they're like, oh, we already heard these questions. Keep it kind of fresh.
Be different for each person though.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we got the gauntlet. All right. So what do we rate that one?
I'm gonna give that one a 7 until I hear what the questions are.
All right. And then this one I think I might just steal straight from what's his name? Sorry, Ming Chen. I can't read.
Who's that guy again?
He's in the book. Anybody knows me knows I can't read and think at the same time. So he had a little bit on Puck Nuts. It was a sports related podcast in which Walt and Bry just ended up leaving halfway through it. So he had the 3 hats. So we'll do the 3 pockets. And then each hat would be a different like type of question. And then he would take submissions and then write them down on papers. And then whoever he was hanging out with Sunday Jeff, and they would just go through the different hats and pull out questions and just like basically like a Q&A, guest submitted questions.
Right. It gives a little bit of like randomness to it.
Right. And then, so we would ask on the live streams and be like, next week is going to be 3 pockets.
No, what we have to do is, I don't know what to do. Let me think. Because like a lot of times with podcasts, there's like the 2 people who are talking,
right,
and there's like a producer.
Right. And
so like they read the questions and put them in the hats.
Right.
So that we don't know what it is. But if you receive the questions, you're going to know what they are. So I'm thinking if there's a way for them to like.
Okay, so I need someone to mail me 3 envelopes.
Or like if they could submit it to like put like a ghost email address, and then we'll have somebody not who's not going to be on like podcast. Like if it's you and Liam who are doing it, then I'll do it. If it's whatever, and then we'll have like a third person write them down really quickly.
I do like the idea of the 3 pockets because I'm still sticking with this pocket gnome thing.
Yeah.
But what if we even just like, because Verizon keeps hitting me up for a second line for like $5 a month. So what if we're like, they call in and then you and me are sitting here and we just play the voicemails out loud.
Right.
And then we answer them that way. Who knows what the hell we go.
What was that project? There was like a voicemail tape that was like in New York and people were just leaving confessions and saying all this crazy stuff to it. And it was just constantly going.
Is that fucking real?
Yeah.
How, like
real?
Like semi-recently or like back in like, is that like a early 2000s?
Oh, back when they had tapes and
yeah.
voicemail.
Oh, I want to look that up. New York. It was just a voicemail?
Yeah.
I'm going to use that for a different project. Yeah, I'll save that for the next pitch meeting.
But then there's like a lot of like fake stuff, a lot of real stuff, a lot of people confessing things that they wouldn't say to anybody else, but it's anonymous. So,
right? Because there's also a radio station that does it. I forget who it is. It's like 3:00 every afternoon on Mondays. Like that first break or the 3:00 hour, he plays the entire voicemail box. Like it's full through the weekend, and people just like leave comments and whatever else. And he kind of just plays straight
whatever
through.
they want.
But we would just frame it as like leave a voicemail of their question, and then my mom was like, "Quit calling me Joyce Ann."
It's just all her. No, seriously.
That's so dumb. I'm sorry. Oh man. I brought that up yesterday on the live stream. That's why every episode to see if I can sneak it in Joyce here. It's so dumb. She's gonna listen to this thing at like 7:00 in the morning. Oh man, that's so dumb. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Don't know why that's so funny. Oh, okay. All right. So yeah. So some variation of they submit, but I don't know what they are. So like, so I get the emails and I'd forward them to the producer or somebody of that bit. So like, I keep looking for like producers, right? Or I'm like asking for people to kind of help out with. So I like they don't have to help out with everything. Like if someone wants to be like the producer of 3 Pockets, I would email them.
Right. Like that's a project,
right?
Special, like.
And then I would tag them and says, "Hey, today's episode is 3 Pockets. Produced by fucking Joanne," and they would have it kind of set up. Like the questions were, I can even probably we'll find a way to keep them hidden so that way I don't have like that much ahead of like. But yeah, that'd be kind of interesting. I like that, and then anybody can play. Like
yeah, and it's better if it's a surprise because then your reactions are real and in like.
Right, but then that can also be like, all right, so Liam and Megan are going to be here next week, so I will be the producer of that week. You guys submit some questions and then
Oh, and it works better as the podcast than as the live in case somebody like says something out of pocket.
Like I get a confession, they're like, I just killed somebody. Oh, out of pocket. You know what's funny is telling Steve Dave has a some guy. I don't even know like it. Yes. Oh, we're sharing notes from the other twin from the pitch. But like the reason why I ask so much, the reason why I ask like for people to for ideas and suggestions is like tell Steve Dave, like there's a guy, and I don't know his name and I'm sorry. But he in the first like 200 episodes, he took clips.
I'm fascinated that you don't know somebody's name.
I know, but he took clips of podcast episodes. It would just take like one sentence from Bri from episode this, one sentence from this from Brian Quinn from a different episode, and he would string them together into a whole brand new conversation. So you can find it on Tom Steve. YouTube has it. TESD out of context, and this guy did like an hour and a half long, like 3 different storylines.
Right.
And it is crazy fascinating how he just takes all of these little like bits and crafted a brand new story about like
fascinating or kind of scary.
I don't know.
Because then anyone could do that to you and be like, this is what Ben said. Right? I mean, that's his voice, isn't it?
So yeah, the out of pocket would be kind of like my out of context. So that way, like, it's not the same thing. It's only out of, and then like clearly pocket and context are different words. But yeah, so that's what I'm always asking for people, because like there are some creative people out there. So if anybody was like, I have an idea, or they wanted to submit something, like, by all means, because like now, like they're doing Patreon every week. They got 2 camera guys, 2 producers, and then like an editor and somebody else. Like they've gotten to a point where they can like straight up hire like 6 or 7 guys that came from Tesdy Town,
right?
Or who listened and now are part of Tesdy Town. So it's like one of those things where it's like it's early on, get in while you can, because man, when we start blowing up, man, I'm gonna spend my real money on some real people. Okay, so all right, so we like the 3 pockets as a podcast, not a live stream.
Yeah, just in case anyone says anything that's not family friendly, or if anyone can call in, then the internet is full of people who are a little bit.
Could I get away with like
sometimes.
a 3 pocket light for the live? Because like I'm always looking for content. Because like my Mondays right now, and there's I'm gonna pitch another one. Could I just keep Mondays as just like updates of what's going on and just talk about TV and movies and just do an hour on TV and movies? Like, do I have to go into like current events or something weird? Like,
I don't think you need to go into current events. I think anything that keeps like the audience interested in talking is what really like draws people to live streams.
Yeah.
And the more you have stuff where you interacting with the audience, or maybe I don't know. I'd have to see what a live stream looks like from this side. But
oh shit! All right, we have to get a Monday.
But
what's the next holiday?
You guys are like sometimes like, and everybody's just like writing. And then like 14 minutes later, you're like, oh, somebody said something about what I asked. Like, hey, I asked everybody who JD Robb was, and they actually did respond. I just never looked at the screen.
And it's so funny because like all day yesterday, I asked a question and I kind of give it like it's weird because like on like live streams, like the podcast, I do it every once in a while, but like on the live streams, I feel like you can't have dead air, or I can't just sit there. But I think like, why couldn't I? Like if I ask a question, why couldn't I just sit here and kind of just like, because the second I move on, someone answers the question, I'm like, motherfucker.
Well, I mean, I think I don't know how many live streams you watch.
I don't watch any.
There is like an art to it. So
I do watch one guy, and he's the only one I've ever watched.
What you do is you kind of just like wade the waters for a second. If you ask something, they're like, yeah, so what is your guys' favorite fruit? You know, I was thinking about favorite fruits, and you know, everybody's got their own favorite. Right. So whether it's because you like it because of this or because you like because that, when really you're just saying like the same stuff over and over to give them a chance to like build up some replies.
Right.
So you're not really going anywhere, and it sounds like frustrating if you're like not a person who listens to live streams. Right. At first, I was like, "Why do they always do that? They always like keep talking about like whether you like it because of this." Like, I'm like, "Yeah, like you like it for a reason." Stated the same question 3 times. Yeah. He just keeps doing it, and then but really, it's to watch like and you get 5 replies, and then now you can start replying to the replies. Okay. So you just kind of have to like wait.
So I need to do my homework and watch some live streams.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because there is an art to it.
Okay.
Because I've seen some good live streams. I've seen some terrible Whimsy live streams. But
they're horrible as live streams, but they were fucking entertaining. I'll give you that.
We have fun. I'm usually watching them during work, so like I'll be saying something and then I'll pop back out, and then like an hour later I'll be like, what happened to the live stream? I forgot they were live streaming. It's the only hard part is it's always in like the middle of me working. So I'll jump in and then I'll have to jump out like 5 minutes later. And I just saw the pre-show.
So yesterday for the live stream, so part of the whole idea of this pitch thing, right, is before Mind Pockets, there was like 2 weeks of me just like rambling and just repeating. It was just, they were kind of like garbagey, right?
Yeah.
But through that, I was able to kind of work through the whole Mind Pockets thing. And now Sundays would be like officially Mind Pocket Saturdays, right? So I'm not looking to like redo all of Monday.
Right.
But if I can find little bits, right now it's structured as get to know me, and then I'll introduce Pocket Lint this week, which is like I did the one on the Q-tails, and what was the Peanuts. I did the Peanuts one. So Pocket Lint, which is just a nice little half a story. Look it up for the rest of it if you want. And then from there it's Pocket Watches and TV, and then sometimes the Rabbit Hole. So like every once in a while, can I take out a Pocket Lint and put in whatever else, like a 3 pockets or something, and kind of keep it fresh but still semi whimsy.
Right, fresh, whimsy. Right. But yeah, it's the audience engagement they have to work on, because look at people coming back to it. Like they want to feel like they're part of it.
Well, what sucks is Mondays, and I don't know what it is, because Saturday I shifted it to a later, so we do it at 8, and there was like twice as many people interacting at 8 o'clock than they did at 3, which totally fucking makes sense, right? Because you're like, it's my weekend, I'm going to do all the things I want to do that I couldn't during the week, and go do my things.
Yeah, before we were often like eating lunch at like a crowded restaurant, so we're like trying to like watch you.
But for whatever reason, Monday, I really like the idea of noon, and I get moving Saturday around, right? And I totally get that aspect of it. But for whatever reason, I really like the idea of noon on Mondays, knowing that it's the worst day and time ever.
But maybe that's just the core people, and it's where like things can be a little bit looser and fun.
Right. So somehow I got to figure out how to get people to be like, it's only one day, like come hang out with me on lunch. And so like almost wanted we're working on names. My mom said hanging with men, like love you, Mom, but I'm not. I think there's a chance, because like right now, unless I get a better suggestion, it's Whimsy Nooners. Because it's at noon on Monday.
Whimsy Nooners.
That's how I get the clickbait views.
Quickies with Whimsy.
Oh, dude, and then I can just randomly jump on my lunches on a Wednesday and do like a quickie Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Oh, now it brings it. Now it's a whole thing. I do the whole show, but I do it in like 15 minutes and be like, boom, here's what I watched.
I'm not announcing that I'm doing it live. It just comes up in your notifications. Everybody jump on. Let's do it.
Right? Oh, so yeah. Hanging with Ben or hanging out with Ben. I'm like, that's too, it's too on the nose. Because like Nikachu does Coffee Crew. He calls his people Coffee Crew. So I'm like, I need something like that. But there's not a lot of good like alliteration with W's that I'm aware of. Or with So anybody listening to this,
weirdos,
you guys got a week to come up with something better than Whimsy's Nooners. And then you guys can be my Nooners. That's so dumb. Oh, someone, you guys, man.
Please come up with something better. This is a plea from me.
Like whoever the note takers are, man, you write this thing down. This is a defining moment of where the where the show goes. So like 2 years from now, when it goes big and famous, and you're like, oh, I really wish
Nooners?
I wish it was something else. Oh, all right. So, all right. So, I think that's all I got for you. Do you have any random suggestions you want to pitch me?
No, because I did not come into this prepared.
I know. Yeah. All right. Liam had a sleepover this weekend, so no Leo. So I was like,
boo.
Yeah, but
And then no neighbor game. I mean,
I know, right? We should play Neighbor. We're gonna play Neighbor right now.
We're gonna beat it, Liam.
Yeah, we're playing it right now.
By the time you hear this, we're gonna be done.
It's done. You watch it on the live stream, Liam.
Just us running in circles for 24 minutes and then quitting.
That's so funny. Oh, Liam doesn't talk to me all day, but he just sends me fucking requests for fucking games he wants to play. Good lord.
What game?
I don't know. Lotus Lantern X.
Lotus Lantern X.
I don't know.
Never heard of it.
I haven't either. All right. I thank you for coming on. You want to hit the end?
The Whimsy?
Yeah.